when we started at Ferry Road, we were in the NICOR building, and they had these new typewriters called Selectrics. They were electric typewriters, and we just couldn't get over that because all of us had grown up using manual typewriters.
Well, I've seen a lot of changes here. When I first started, we all had IBM Selectric typewriters in our offices. The personal computer was still a dream away.
They brought in a machine called a Xerox, and it gave us copies that were almost like tissue paper, and we had to figure out how to operate that.
We still had the old mimeograph machines in the faculty office suites, so you could make the copies with the old mimeograph and have that smell of that fluid that was used.
We would send out flyers to the public, and it was like rolling out on an ink pad, and we would have these cards and send them out to the public. It was hilarious.
Registration took place at that time at the county fairgrounds. And so students now become frustrated when they're going through registration because a class might be closed at that time. When we registered, they'd write all the classes on a chalkboard. And so we'd register with punch cards, and when a class was closed, they'd say English 101 Section 4 and erase it off of the chalkboard.
If there was a power outage in the area, of course it would affect the second trailer because we had to keep very cool in there. I forget what it was. It had to be maybe 50 degrees or so. And they would panic because here we're out in the cornfield and trying to keep the computers cool so they would operate. And in those days, computers were huge. They were, well, like refrigerators or larger.
A lot of us, I think, fought the computer, especially in mathematics. You know, there's all the stories about Einstein at the Institute of Research of not wanting a computer around and so forth. And I sort of felt that was the way some of the math and science people felt. But as we saw the potential, we went over to the other side.
I remember back in the 90s, we got our first fax machine. It was a it was a grant because we were going to fax magazine articles to different libraries. And this lady comes in and she runs this thing, and I thought, whoa, this changes everything. All right, well, I had no idea what the next big change was the internet. And the college sent all the librarians, they hired substitute librarians for a week, sent all the librarians to Washington, D.C. to train on the internet. We trained the faculty. Now, you would think that the computer people would be training the faculty on how to use the internet. No, it's a research tool. And so that's what we did. And we came back working with our different groups, and we taught the faculty how to use the internet.
We had a very early email system, and I had my own weather email address for our servers. And this was even before we had a faculty or any sort of departmental emails. And I remember doing a search. You know, we used Google. Now, they didn't have Google then. We did a Kermit search on the word weather, and it came up with 80 different sites. And now if you do weather on Google, you'll find like 80 million different sites on weather. So huge changes, and it was exciting to be at the forefront of that.
Back then, there was no technology, so kids coming here, and when we first had computers, they were just thrilled to death. I mean, everybody was standing in line to use a computer, and now you walk down the hall and everybody's got a computer, a cell phone, a laptop, an iPad. It's just so different to see.